Hello everyone, I'm Rishnikka, an agriculture student from TNAU AC&RA curriculum. I'm going to present about labor policy in India. Before going into the topic, first we will know about the difference between the policy and law. Policy is the outline of what government is going to do and what it can be achieved for the society as a whole. Laws are set standards, principles, and procedures that must be followed in society. Law is mainly made for implementing justice in the society. Now we have clear idea about policy. Let's enter into the labor policy in India. First slide is about definition. Labor policy in India has been evolving in response to specific need of the situation to suit requirements of planned economic development and social justice has twofold objectives. Wise labor policies are devised to maintain economic development, social justice, industrial harmony, and welfare of labor in the country. Next is introduction about labor policy in India, how it starts and now how it is going. After independence, it is largely felt that the labor policy must emphasize upon self-reliance on the part of the workers. Since independence till 1954, the period when V.V. Giri was the labor minister, all official procurements emphasized that labor should become self-reliant. Labor policy of India comes from Part 4 of the Constitution, which is the directive principles of state policy, which is based on certain fundamental principles, such as first one is the social justice. Our legislators at the time of making laws tried to provide social justice, which means equal distribution of profits between industrialists and the laborers. Because there is a huge gap between rich and poor, and most of the population covered by the poor. So if this gap fills, then India will emerge as the developed country. It is social justice which provides minimum wages, safety, health facilities to labor. Second one is the social equity. Labor laws or policy of India follow the principles of social equity, which means to fill the gap in laws as per the requirement of society. This power of changing the law according to the circumstance is taken by the government, in which they pass new acts and make amendments in old acts. Like recently our lawmakers passed Core Wage Act 2019. Another one is international uniformity. Another principle on which our labor laws or policy are based in international uniformity. The role to check whether any law or policy follow this principle or not is checked by the International Labour Organization ILO. Its main aim is to remove injustice, to improve the working condition of labor and provide equality. Next is tripartism. Tripartism is an approach which lays stress on the identity of interest between labor and capital. That is, they are the partners in the maintenance of production and the building up of the national economy. An equally forceful view had happened to prefer reliance upon the government. This cross-current of approach to the labor policy gave place to the new approach known as tripartism. Thus, tripartism became the central theme during 1957. The labor policy has proceeded on a realization that the community as a whole, as well as individual employers, are under an obligation to protect the welfare of workers and to secure to them their due share in the gain of economic development. This led to enacting of the Payment of Bonus Act 1965, which aimed at providing for the payment of bonus on the basis of profits or on the basis of production or productivity. The main postulates of labor policy may be summed up as follows. Recognition of the state as the custodian of the interest of the community as the catalyst of change and welfare programs. Recognition of the right of workers to peaceful direct action if justice is denied to them. Encouragement to mutual settlements, collective bargaining, and voluntary arbitration. Intervention by the state in favor of the weaker party to ensure fair treatment to all concerned, primary to maintenance of individual peace, evolving partnership between the employer and the employee in a concerted endeavor to promote the satisfaction of the economic needs of the country in the best possible manner. Ensuring fair wage standards and provisions of social security, cooperation for augmenting production and increasing productivity, adequate enforcement of legislation, enhancing the status of the workers in industry, tripartite consultation. These are some highlights of labor policy. Creative measures to attract public and private investment, creating new jobs with the new social security schemes for workers, unified and beneficial management of funds of welfare boards, model employee-employer relationship with the long-term settlements. Vital industries and establishment declared as public utilities, special conciliation mechanism for project with investment of rupees 150 crores or more, industrial relation committees in more sectors, labor law reforms with the times, empowered body of experts to suggest required changes. Statutory amendments for expediting and streamlining the mechanism of labor judiciary, efficient functioning of labor department, more labor sectors under Minimum Wages Act, modern medical facilities for workers, rehabilitation packages for displaced workers. Restructuring in functions of employment exchanges with modern technology, revamping of curriculum and course content in industrial training, joint cell of labor and industries department to study changes in laws and rules. Uses of labor policy. As we have already seen, it creates measures to attract public and private investments, creating new jobs, new social security schemes for workers in the unorganized sector, social security cards for workers, unified and beneficial management of the funds of welfare boards, reprioritization of allocation of funds to benefit vulnerable workers, model employee-employer relationship. Some interesting facts to know. Today, our labor legislation currently deal with 44 central laws and more than 100 state laws. There is a separate act for every separate right of labor like Industrial Disputes Act 1947, Trade Union Act 1926, Minimum Wages Act 1948, etc. Labor Day has its origin in the labor union movement in the United States in the 19th century. In 1889, the Marxist International Socialist Congress adopted a resolution for a great international demonstration in which they demanded that the workers should not be made to work for more than 8 hours a day. After this, it became an annual event and May 1 was celebrated as Labor Day. In India, Labor Day is a national holiday. The first Labor Day was celebrated in 1923 in Chennai. This day was observed by the Labour Kisan Party of Hindustan. The great conclusion. Government laid down certain policies for labor which provided them directly to make any labor laws and it gave them a path by which they are governed. The Great Quote by John Locke. It is the labor indeed that puts the differences on everything. Workers are one out of strongest support of any country's economy. Everyone in this world is a worker of some jobs. Let's continue our works. These are some references I referred. Thank you for listening and spending your valuable time.